Hey guys, welcome back to my channel, and if you're new here, it is so great to have you. I'm Antoinette, a New Zealander living in Germany. In this video today, I am going to be talking about 5 things that I really like about school in Germany, the German school system. And so I'm going to be talking specifically about Grundschule, which is the first 4 years of school in Germany. I know in previous videos I have talked about certain things I don't like so much about the German school system, but like any school system in the world, there are going to be positives and negatives, and today I'm going to be focusing on the positive aspects of the German school system. So before I get into that, I would like to take a moment to thank GMT for Kids for kindly partnering with me in this video today. GMT for Kids is a Norwegian founded company who sell the most fabulous European style children's school bags. What sets their school bags apart from many other well-known brands on the market right now is the fact that GMT for Kids school bags are extremely lightweight and focus primarily on back protection. Their ergonomic system is designed with a one-piece spine protector, which helps distribute the pressure from the shoulders to the more stable pelvic area, which keeps the children's backs in the correct posture. GMT for Kids kindly let my kids pick out a school bag of their choice from their website, which they were so excited about. Amelia picked out the Cube Ultralight Deer Fairy set in this gorgeous mint colour, and she is so happy with it. It also came with some really fun accessories. Matteo picked out the Cube Ultralight Space Agent set in this awesome vibrant blue, and he can't wait to wear it when it's his turn to start school. So if you're looking for a light, well-designed, comfortable school bag which takes the strain off your child's back, then make sure you check out GMT for Kids. I will leave a link for their website in my description below. Okay guys, so let's move on to 5 things I personally really like about school here in Germany. A lot of you will already know that I have 3 children. My eldest daughter Amelia is 8 and she will soon be going into the 3rd year of school here in Germany. So in no particular order, something I really love about the German school system, I have touched on this before, but I am going to be going into a little bit more detail in this video. I love the fact that children here in Germany start school a whole year later, sometimes even more than a whole year later, than children in many other countries. And so Amelia, my daughter, she started school when she was 6.5, and in New Zealand you start school when you are 5, and I believe this is the case in many other Anglo-Saxon countries. Many German kids actually tend to have very good fine motor skills, gross motor skills, because they have longer to develop these skills. They're in kindergarten for longer. Kindergarten in Germany is very play-based. So by the time children in Germany start school, they are that little bit older, they are mature, they are ready to start learning to read and write. And that's what I found with my daughter Amelia. I was wondering how it was all going to happen. You know, she didn't really have any experience with writing and reading. Of course, we read a lot of books at home to her, but she couldn't write. She could write her name, but she couldn't read when she started school. And she picked it up so quickly. And this happens for the majority of children in Germany because they are ready, they are mentally and physically ready to start school. Okay guys, so moving on to point number 2, something that I have actually grown to appreciate and respect about the German school system is the fact that German children who maybe have learning differences, it is picked up very early, and these children are given wonderful support, which is for the most part covered by insurance here in Germany. And this is not the case in many other countries. So I have talked about this before in previous videos. This is pretty personal, but I have shared the fact that I have dyslexia, and I haven't told you that I also have a double diagnosis of ADD, which in Germany is RDS, so it's an attention problem where you have trouble focusing, and many children with dyslexia are also diagnosed with ADD or ADHD, attention deficit hyperactive disorder. I didn't know this. I went through school, I really did struggle in school academically, and It had nothing to do with my intelligence. I like to call it a learning difference rather than a disability because my brain just learns in a different way. But anyway, I didn't know that I had dyslexia and ADD growing up. All through school, it wasn't detected at all until I was at university. If I had known this early in the first or second grade, my whole school life would have looked different. I would have had so much more support. And in Germany, the school system is very structured. The curriculum is so structured, which I originally hated about school in Germany because it triggered me. It made me think about myself in school and the fact that there would have been no hiding for me. In Germany, there are structured subjects and tests, and if a child is falling behind a little bit, then it's going to be very obvious, which for me, I spent my whole life trying to cover up the fact that I was struggling in certain subjects and overcompensating in other subjects I was good at. So what I'm trying to say is if I went to school in Germany, there would be absolutely no hiding, and they would have picked up that I had dyslexia very early on, and I would have had the support that I needed. I would have had probably a tutor that was specialized in dyslexia, and it would have helped me. And so, I talked about the fact that the school system in Germany would have been terrible for me, but I don't know if it would have been terrible, to be honest. Maybe I would have done quite well in Germany if I had the support that I needed. As a parent, all you want for your children is for them to be happy and for them to reach their full potential. And if they have a learning difference that is undiagnosed all through their school life, then they're not reaching their full potential. If they are diagnosed early and they get the support that they need, then they can reach their full potential. And in Germany, there are a lot of options. I know it's very structured, the school system, and in many ways, the school system here it's old-fashioned, and I do believe that there should be some changes in the school system here, but in saying that, there are some positives in the school system and the structure of the German school system. Okay guys, so moving on to point number 3, and this point I actually recently changed my mind about. I really like the fact that children in Germany do not wear a school uniform. And this is kind of ironic because I have talked about the fact that I preferred school uniforms. I grew up wearing a school uniform my whole school life, and I really liked the fact that all the children were equal, and so there was no like competition about what child wore the more expensive clothes and that kind of thing. And in saying that, I do like that aspect of school uniforms, but when I really thought about it, if all children are dressed the same, where is their individuality? What if a child doesn't feel comfortable, like a little girl doesn't feel comfortable wearing a dress and she's forced to wear a dress? This could be really traumatizing for some kids. Not just that, I recently did a little bit of a Google search on how much school uniforms cost in New Zealand, and in New Zealand the average price of school uniforms is $600 per child, and that is not including shoes. So shoes, to buy a pair of good leather shoes would be, I don't know, around $100, no less than that. And also they need sandals for summertime, so that's another $100. So just say $600, $700, $800 according to this information online. 600 New Zealand dollars, which is the price for just the uniforms, is equivalent to 360 euros in Germany. And so imagine if you had multiple children. And there's the argument that these uniforms will last the entire year, but children are constantly growing. So maybe halfway through the year they are growing out of their school uniform and they need to buy a new one. It's very expensive, and to buy just regular clothes it's so much cheaper. And some kids may be able to get hand-me-downs from cousins and sisters and brothers and get away with that, and parents don't have to spend so much on clothing. But of course there are pros and cons to both sides. There are positive aspects of wearing a school uniform and there are not so positive aspects. Okay guys, so moving on to something else I personally really like about school in Germany, and this is something that I know so many people will not agree with me on. This is the way that sport in Germany, school sport, is structured. So my daughter Amelia, she does sport 2 hours a week, and this is during school hours, so it's dedicated hours especially for sport, and she really enjoys this. If she wants to do another sport, it will be done through a club which is not connected to the school. It has no connection. It will be a separate sports club. So Amelia, she goes to judo twice a week, which she absolutely loves, and it has nothing to do with the school. This is a separate club. It's very different in New Zealand, because in New Zealand there is a huge team sporting culture in the New Zealand schools, and so it is expected for basically every child, regardless of whether you are into sport or not. It's expected of them to be in a team and play a sport. So for example, I played netball, which is quite a popular sport in New Zealand, and all of my netball practices were after school, and the games were on Saturday morning. So it's a huge big thing in New Zealand. Every parent has to wake up early to take their children to Saturday morning sport, which takes hours out of your weekend. And some people love it, and of course this is part of Kiwi culture, but for me, as somebody who is not particularly sporty, I hated it. I hated getting up really early on a Saturday morning to go and play sport. And for someone like my mum who had 5 kids, all of us were playing Saturday morning sport, and so she had to find a way to get all of us there, and she couldn't go and watch all of us at the same time, and yeah, it was a little bit tricky. But anyway, what I'm trying to say is I prefer the German way, when children are, you know, doing a couple of hours of sport during school hours, and then they join a separate club outside of school. That's just my opinion, and I know a lot of you won't agree with me. Let me know if you think that the New Zealand way is better or the German way is better. Okay guys, so last but not least, I'm going to keep this point as short as possible because I have gone on and on longer than I had anticipated. So something that I like about school in Germany is the fact that children in Germany, they either walk to school for the most part or take a school bus. And so I know that in many other countries, children are driven to school by their parents, and I know it can be absolutely chaotic at the school gate, and there is so much traffic. And in Germany, I've talked many times about the fact that children are a lot more independent. Parents put a lot more trust into their children, and at the age of 6, when they first start school, they are allowed to walk to school on their own, depending on how far away the school is. But they'll either walk to school or walk to the school bus, usually with a group of other children, but they don't have any adult supervision, which I think is great, and I think it's so much more convenient for the parents when children are comfortable and feel confident enough to get themselves to school and back. Of course, children here in Germany, they have been taught the road rules, and for the most part, children here are so responsible and they follow the rules, and it all works out just so well. And I just really like this part of German culture, German school culture, and it makes the kids feel pretty special. They have that little bit of independence, and I know that my daughter Amelia absolutely loves that little bit of freedom she has walking to the bus stop on her own. When she does get to the bus stop, there are people who are watching the children and making sure they get on the bus and making sure that they cross the road properly. I've had absolutely no problem with Amelia walking to the bus stop and taking the bus to school. So anyway guys, that is all I have got for this video today. There are actually more points that I could talk about. I may save them for a part 2. I just didn't want to go on any longer than I already have. I really hope you enjoyed this video. Also, if you are a parent raising your children in Germany, or if you have grown up yourself in Germany, let me know some of the things that you really like about the German school system. Thank you so much for watching. If you enjoyed this video, then don't forget to give it a big thumbs up. I would love you to consider subscribing to my channel. Feel free to connect with me on Instagram, and I will see you again really soon. Bye!